Yesterday, Steam implemented an any reason refund policy that may be used before 14 days or prior to 2 hours of gameplay time, whichever comes first. There's also the caveat that they will be monitoring for abuse, and if you use the system to just get free games, buy a game, beat it, and then refund, they will take away your ability to get refunds. Some developers are calling this unfair, in fact brutally unfair. These are the people I'm going to talk about today. The problem these devs and other devs that are crying have is that their games are less than 2 hours long. Some people are saying to solve this they should have made longer games. Well, I disagree with that, and I think it begs the question. The premise that it's unfair presumes the outcome. What is the outcome? Malicious gamers deliberately buying games and then refunding because they're short and can be beaten. If people want refunds because they think they've been ripped the fuck off because they spent money on a 2-minute piece of shit, that is a legitimate reason to want a refund, and I suspect that is more likely to happen. But let's look at this deeper. If you have a game less than 2 hours long and people are acting in good faith, you have an advantage on Steam. So let's say people are aware that there's a 2-hour limit on getting a refund. They buy a relatively expensive and long game like The Witcher and they're coming up to 2 hours, and for whatever reason, at this point they're just not feeling the game, they're not digging it. So they put down like whatever, $60, and they're not feeling it within 2 hours and they're just thinking, I don't really want to keep going. So they apply for a refund, knowing it's obvious they're not trying to trick the system to get a free game because they've only played 2 hours of a much longer game. They're safe in doing this and there's a significant chunk of money on the table. Little did they know if they'd kept playing for more than 2 hours they would have loved the game, but there are these other incentives. If however, they had bought a game that's less than 2 hours, they would most likely have spent less money, so there's less on the table, they will have beaten the whole game as well, which is important. If we presume they are acting in good faith, they will have seen the entire contents of your product and be deciding, should I get a refund for this, based on whether they feel cheated or not. Unlike with a longer game, they don't have to guess what's coming up and make a refund based on that. They also probably don't have as much money on the table. They also have to worry about the abuse flagging and losing their ability to refund, because Steam says the system is not to get free games. How are they going to be checking that? Well, I guess if people beat games and then ask for refunds more than once or twice maybe, that's going to flag them, and here they've beaten a game and are considering refund. Another huge benefit for developers of short games is that people may know that your game is going to be short. The Steam user tags may even warn you of that. Before refunds, maybe they would have just avoided it, scared that they wouldn't get their money's worth. Now, they're going to at least try it, and I don't believe you'll get refunds en masse unless you deserve it. I also don't believe that beating a game is like eating a sandwich. You could say, well, they beat the short game, they've had the game, they can't get their money back now. No, games don't work like that, sorry. This situation is unfair, but it's unfair on customers acting in good faith. Let's say someone gets a game and they have the refund system on their mind thinking, oh, I can get my money back. They're playing the game, they're not sure if it should be refunded or not, but suddenly, boom, they've hit the ending. Should that affect your ability to refund in any way? And remember, I'm talking about good faith customers. These people are going to be deciding fairly whether they think they deserve a refund or not. People say length isn't what makes a game good, but for some people, if it's a shit game and it's short, that just, the brevity just compounds the disappointment and upset at having been basically ripped off. Do you want to keep the money of someone who's beaten your game but found it hilariously short and a rip-off for the cash? Do you want to keep that person's money? Well, you're a fucking slimeball. Have some goddamn pride in your work. If it's good, people will play it, spend whatever amount you're asking for and decide, yeah, that was good. They won't even think about getting a refund. If you're scared about people playing your game and then immediately wanting a refund, you're not making a game, you're making a trap. Let's talk about the other side of things, customers acting in bad faith. Well, that's protected against by the abuse clause if people are using it to get free games. Steam will look at what they're doing and restrict their ability to get refunds. But that's not the big problem with this. Developers believing there's this mass amount of people who will just deliberately get their game in order to play it and then refund it. Fuck you. If you're going to presume that people who use Steam are like that, maybe you should get off of Steam. The ability to get a refund on digital games should be mandatory. If you would restrict the consumer rights of those customers acting in good faith on the basis that some may act in bad faith, you shouldn't be selling anything. You're not even suitable to sell hot dogs from a stand. If you think all gamers are like this, if you think all gamers will try to steal from you, if you believe that, then I have one thing to say to you. Fuck off out of the games industry. You don't respect your customers. You don't deserve to have customers. But, as usual, that's just another one of my harmful opinions.